Welcome back to SimTour Project episode 15, a series where I'm showing off these sim racing setups to my viewers and hoping to give you all inspiration regarding all this hobby has to offer. Follow the instructions on this video if you want to be featured, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting off strong, we have 17-year-old Aiden from the United States. Over the span of 2 years, Aiden has put together this setup valued between $5,000 to $6,000. Although he did not indicate whether the wet floor cone, which is probably stolen, was included in that price estimate. Anyway, holding everything up, he's got the popular Next Level Racing GT track paired with an LG 49-inch super ultra-wide 144Hz monitor, which is held up by the Next Level Racing light freestanding monitor stand, which only costs around $100 and seems to be holding up that massive display without a problem. As per his wheelbase, he's got the MOZA R9 V2 paired with the MOZA RS V2 wheel and high-end CRP pedals down below. Powering everything is an RTX 2070 Super, a 3700X CPU, and 64GB of Corsair Vengeance RGB RAM, all housed in a generic Be Quiet case. Overall, a simple setup with some capable gear. Thank you Aiden for submitting, but don't forget to make your bed. Next up, coming from Qatar, we once again have Muhammad, who you probably recognized from the last episode. Muhammad, a 23-year-old computer science student, has made several changes to his sim racing setups and his gender as well, as he now identifies as a Porsche 911 GT3 991.2 in Nardo Grey with a manual transmission. Anyway, with a budget of $12,000, Muhammad's setup is nothing short of impressive. He's now rocking the Next Level Racing GT Elite cockpit with the ES1 bucket seat, which is holding up a plethora of gear, which we'll get into soon. As per his display, he's got a wall-mounted Samsung Odyssey G5 monitor, while the MOZA R12 wheelbase paired with a variety of wheels ensures a realistic driving feel. As per his rims, he's got quite a lot, but as you already know, they're all linked in the video description. Mounted on his right, you'll find the high-end Simagic DS8X H-pattern and sequential shifter next to the popular MOZA HBP handbrake. And down below, again continuing with the MOZA ecosystem, are the CRP load cell pedals. Other notable equipment includes the Sim Racing For You button box on one side of his wheelbase with a 3D printed cup holder on the other. Of course, to power all of this, Muhammad has now picked up a PS5, but also a gaming PC with an RTX 4080, an Intel i7 13700KF, and 64GB of DDR4 RAM, all housed in an NZXT H710 case. Overall, some massive upgrades from the last episode. Thank you Muhammad for submitting. Looking for great deals on sim racing hardware? Make sure to check out simspots.com, where all of the best deals on sim racing, PC, and gaming peripherals are posted daily. Literally, the site is completely free to use, free of ads, and just lets you know of discounted sim racing hardware for you to save some cash. Get into sim racing or upgrade your gear today at simspots.com. And now, heading down under to Australia, we have Ollie, a 17-year-old student and part-time Kmart employee. Over the past 4 years, Ollie has invested $7,000 into his sim racing setup, and there's certainly a lot to go over. Starting off, his cockpit of choice is the Trak Racer TR80, which is holding up the MOZA R9 wheelbase and Fanatec CSL load cell pedals down below. Alongside his wheelbase, he's got a ton of other gear like a Stream Deck on the left and an old phone he's using as a lap timer, as well as a button box he found off AliExpress and claims is surprisingly good. Talking about AliExpress, that's also where he bought his H-pattern shifter and SimJack sequential shifter, which looks of decent quality. A Trak Racer integrated keyboard mount holds his keyboard, and Logitech speakers are cleverly hidden for maximum immersion. And talking about immersion, his screens and the black fabric he has encapsulating his entire setup are the main players here. His screens are generic 32-inch displays, but thanks to the way he has set them up, he managed to create an extremely immersive driving setup, all in the comfort of his room. Of course, powering everything, he's got an AMD RX 7900 XT, AMD 5800, and 32GB of DDR4 RAM, all housed in a Cooler Master Box Lite 5Ks. Overall, a very immersive setup. Thank you Ollie for submitting. And next up, also from Australia, we have Levi. He's a 16-year-old student and part-time assistant karate instructor who has a very unique triple monitor setup on a desk as he is using a next level racing wheel stand 2.0 instead of a traditional cockpit. Mounted on his wheel stand, he's rocking Thrustmaster hardware as he's got the powerful Thrustmaster TSBC with a Ferrari 488 Challenge leather rim, which he for some reason covered the badge on. On his left hand side, he continues with the Thrustmaster ecosystem as he's got the TH80 shifter, which has seen a thing or two, alongside the MOZA HBP handbrake and Extreme Deck at close proximity. Down below, you probably could have guessed he's got the Thrustmaster TLCM load cell pedals, and back up top, his interesting arrangement of monitors are two 165Hz Aorus displays on the middle and right, and a generic 60Hz LG monitor on the left, which kind of throws everything off. Overall, a simple yet practical sim racing / desk setup. Thank you, Levi, for submitting. And finally, ending it off with a simple, affordable, and realistic sim racing setup, we have Saeed. He's a 13-year-old self-proclaimed Alpha Sigma male living in Qatar who is rocking a PS5 setup alongside the Thrustmaster T248 and T3PM pedals. This setup is very simple with a single 60Hz BenQ monitor on top of a generic IKEA desk with a generic chair which I can't imagine is too comfortable. What's funny is that he seems to have some metal rod against a book, against a shelf, which is somehow preventing his chair from rocking backwards. Anyway, it's clear that this is very much a beginner setup, but for a 13-year-old it definitely seems like a comfortable place to race, and whenever you want to play other games, simply unclamp the wheel and use your PS5 for those. So overall, for someone of this age, it's very much a proper setup. Thank you, Saeed, for submitting. And just like that, this rounds up SimTour Project episode 15. Remember to leave a like on the video and leave your thoughts down in the comments below, but with all that said, as always, thank you all for watching, stay safe, and have a fantastic rest of your day.